Very well. Today we feel we're entering a different phase as we see signs pointing to a structural change in global employment. And the most visible trigger right now is what's happening at Amazon. The company confirmed office reductions of 14,000 positions in a recent round, with previous waves bringing the total to tens of thousands since 2022. For Spain, this adjustment affects around 100 employees in Madrid and Barcelona. And simultaneously, there's an even more radical announcement: 30,000 additional corporate cuts in a single week, about 10% of their administrative workforce. All this coincides with an internal plan projecting over 600,000 automated jobs by 2033 in the US alone. When we look at the corporate narrative, repeated over and over again, we see familiar concepts: being more agile, reallocating resources, aligning with more relevant strategic bets. And the practical translation is clear. Companies are shifting tasks from human workers to automated systems, and the label dominating all these decisions is artificial intelligence. We're not talking about an isolated experiment. Amazon acknowledges that AI is enabling them to operate with less staff and that investment in automation is central to their priorities. In many cases, language is used to soften the term automation, but at its core, that's exactly what it is. We know this transition isn't limited to one specific area. HR, marketing, operations, service personnel, everything falls within the impact zone. And not just there. There are office tasks and cognitive functions that can already be replicated or coordinated by automated systems, and we see that in technical departments, routine work is becoming replaceable. Administrative roles and basic data analysis are cited as examples of work that can now be handled by automated systems. What's happening in engineering is central to this shift. The agents orchestrating language models aren't mystical entities. They're software built by technical teams that can take complex instructions, break them into subtasks, delegate each step to a large model with precise guidance, collect responses, validate them, and deliver final result. This previously required people for analysis, writing, and design, but now an agent can break objectives into discrete steps, extracting data, identifying patterns, drafting content, and assembling the final product. And this orchestration capability is what begins to empty office functions. This isn't happening just at Amazon. We see ideological patterns in other large companies. In some cases, they admit reducing staff because new internal agents now handle those functions. Financial markets reward this approach, sending a strong signal to the rest of the sector. Automation becomes a clear competitive advantage. A key nuance is that some companies use AI revolution narratives to justify reorganizations also driven by pandemic expansion, labor costs, tariffs, or economic cycles. But despite these variables, AI remains the central axis determining where capital flows. Budget is being freed up to fund automation deployments, with the goal of investing in systems that promise massive efficiency gains and higher profit margin. This transition is comparable to installing advanced turbines in a giant factory. Sections are being dismantled to make space for more productive machines. The estimated impact is enormous, as Amazon employs over 1.5 million people globally and more than 1 million in the US alone. Internal plans discuss automating up to 75% of operations in certain centers and replacing over half of all positions in the US. This isn't a distant future scenario. The plan targets 160,000 jobs automated by 2027, with layoffs already happening now in human resources. Meanwhile, we observed hardware demonstrations representing this vision, smart glasses guiding deliveries with real-time instructions, and robotic arms that recognize objects and precisely reorganize packages from a single station. What matters for our profession is that two distinct future paths are emerging. Profiles that merely follow detailed routine tasks will become less necessary, while repetitive coding, basic documentation, and preliminary data analysis are now direct targets for AI agents already coordinating large models. However, demand is growing for those who can design these systems. Architecture, scalability, security, prompt engineering, data flows, limitation mitigation. The key shift is moving from just doing to thinking at the system level and defining the structure that orchestrates models and automation. For us, the message is clear. We're facing an era where automation no longer replaces just hands but decisions, and today we're seeing the practical start of that change. Artificial intelligence isn't an abstract concept. It's driving massive reorganizations. The job landscape is changing now, not in 10 years. The question we face is whether we want to be among those vulnerable to replacement or part of the group building the systems that displace tasks.